Hi, this is Arabella Gordon, and today I want to talk to you about the word sacrifice. Now, if you hear the word sacrifice, some things come to mind. Now, I could be one of those tricky pastors or preachers that would say, what is your definition of sacrifice? And set you up that if you answer something, you go, aha, and you were wrong somehow. I'm not going to do that to you today. But I would imagine if I asked everyone what your idea of or definition of the word sacrifice is, probably would involve the word something like giving up something you enjoy. But today I want to present the word sacrifice to you in a new light. Maybe get a renovated definition of what that means, and that will give you more power. So you see, sacrifice isn't just giving up of something. It's more of a trading up. You're giving up whatever you bring to the table, and you're trading it for something that is of greater value. So if you think about it this way, you'll have a lot more power and focus whenever you do make a sacrifice. Let me tell you a story about a little boy. Once there was a little boy, he really wanted to play the drums, but he didn't have money for drums. So he took on a paper route so he could pay for these drums. So every morning he'd have to get up and pick up his papers. He'd have to bundle them up, put them in that little plastic sleeve to protect it from the elements, and he had to either walk or bicycle and throw that paper on the property of everyone on that list that had a subscription to the paper. So while his brother was warm and cozy sleeping, or he was at home eating cereal and watching TV, there was this little boy who had traded his comforts to have this paper route in order to earn money, in order to buy drums that he could play the drums. Now, he wasn't trading up for money. That would be the obvious thing. He's working so he could get money, but that wasn't his payoff. He was going to take the money and get drums, but the physical drums, that was not his payoff. He was going to take the drums and he was going to get to play the drums. He was going to be a drummer. That was the payoff. That was the vision set before him. That was the thing that kept him working that paper route in the mornings when it was cold and everyone else was sleeping or chilling out in front of the TV, and he's working, slinging these newspapers. So an adult example might be someone that has a full-time job. They work hard all day. They get home quickly. They get something to eat quickly, and then they get online, and they're working on a degree or a program toward a diploma that they believe will give them a better quality of life. So this person is giving up much, sacrificing that time where they could be home relaxing or sleeping, or they could be watching TV or playing games on their phone, going out with their friends, maybe sacrificing even a relationship or dating a relationship that he could have, to use that time to invest in studying so he could have a diploma. Not that the diploma was his prize, but the life, the better quality of life that was on the other side of the diploma that he believed that diploma would bring him. So that was his sacrifice. That was his trade-up. He wasn't just giving up what he gave up. He was trading up for this life that he saw on the other side of the diploma. All right, so here's the power. If you remember what you're trading up for, that what you're trading, what the things you're sacrificing, the things you brought to the table to give up and to sacrifice, you're not doing it, you're giving it up. End of story, and that's it. But no, you're giving it up because you're trading it for something that's of much higher value. So remembering that will give you great focus. So that adult person that says, man, I'm not focusing on the outcome right now. Right now, all I can see is the things that I'm giving up. And he says, man, I really deserve some time off. So maybe they take some time off of school. They want to go and spend some money. I deserve to get some things for myself. And they spend that money on themselves. They use their tuition money, and they lose focus, and they lose sight of what they made the sacrifices originally for. So it's important to remember when you make a sacrifice to stop looking at what you're giving up, but to look at what's on the other side, what you're trading up for. You know, what's a great thing about these small decisions that we make to give up something, to make a sacrifice, to trade up. Sometimes the outcome that we receive, it's a bigger payoff than even the trade up that we thought it was going to be. So, well, you asked me, what happened to that little boy? Well, I'm going to tell you what happened to that little boy. So the little boy ran his paper route and eventually made enough money to pay off the drums. So So the whole time the drums were sitting in the house, and he's slinging papers. He's working every day, every morning, getting those papers out. Finally pays off the drums, and he sits down to play the drums. And he realizes that he's not very good. But you know who is very good? It's his older brother that was eating cereal, sleeping in. While he was out slinging papers, his brother was messing around with the drums and gotten really good at it. So the boy goes, okay, fine, you play the drums, and I'll play something else. I'll play your guitar. And I believe, as the story goes, he said some words, colorful words, that I won't say, that were not exactly of the prayerful nature. And so, end of story, right? No, not the end of the story. So you see, the boy that had the paper route, his brother's name was Alex, and the boy that had the paper route, his name was Eddie. So these two are Alex and Eddie Van Halen. So Eddie Van Halen, thinking that he was trading up his mornings of comfort for money, for the drums, to be a drummer, didn't even get the payoff that he was trading up for. He got a payoff that's even bigger than that. He ended up changing the world in his lifetime, at least the world of guitar in his lifetime. A bigger payoff than he even imagined. He thought he was just going to play the drums. So I want to encourage you today that if you're making sacrifices, all of us are somewhere in our lives making sacrifices, or you're getting ready to. I want you to remember what you're trading up for. And also that the thing you're trading up for, that payoff, it might be bigger than you thought. So I'm going to close with this. I think of the Lord Jesus. In the Bible it says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, suffering the shame. And he did all that. He sacrificed all that he did, that brutal torture and that gruesome death on a cross on Calvary. And he didn't just give up, period, end of story. He was trading up for something that he considered a much greater value. And that was the joy set before him. And what was that joy set before him? That joy set before him was the hope of having you, and the hope of winning me, the hope of winning our souls, that he would spend our lives with him and in eternity. And it's amazing to think that even if you were the only one, and he knew you were the only one that would come to him, he would have still made that sacrifice. That's one thing to think. He did it for millions of people. And he did. And that's the outcome, gratefully. But even if there were only one and it was you, he would have done it just for you. He would have made that sacrifice. He would have traded up, because he thought having you and the hope of having you was of greater value than what he gave up. Gives you something to think about for the rest of this life and on in eternity. All right, so I'm going to close with a song called I Surrender, Surrender by Mark James. It's a song by from the Vineyard Group. I believe it was copyright 2000 by Mark James. A beautiful song, very well covered. I love to do it in church. I love to use it when I'm alone with God. And I'm going to go ahead and do it in the key of B. A beautiful version is one by Lincoln Brewster, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the piano this time. So this is Arabella Gordon with something to think about, a little slice of life, SOL. So again, I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me. I pray you have a wonderful day, and think about these things as you make your next sacrifices, the hope, the joy set before you, and the things you are trading up for.